Alright YouTubers, in this video I'm going to show you how to update the BIOS to this Gigabyte B660 DS3H. This is the full ATX version. So if you have the B660M, very similar to this process, you just need to make sure you download the right BIOS file. Let's go download the right BIOS file. Alright, so we've done a few of these. This is the first one I've done recording in 8K. Whether it'll show up on YouTube is another story. So what we want to do, folks, is type in Gigabyte B660 UD, and this is the AC model, right? Because it has Wi-Fi, and that appears to be the right one right there. It's DDR4. Wow. I'm surprised it did that. Okay. So when you come in here, just verify it's the right motherboard, and it definitely is. Come over here to support. Now what you want to do is a couple things in here. One, we're going to, in a moment, go grab our BIOS file. But first, let's look at the CPU support. This motherboard will support all the 13th gen CPUs, it appears. Yeah, so that's what I want to do this for. And you see the BIOS, minimum BIOS needed. So F20, there's probably a more up-to-date one, probably an F21. Let's go over to downloads. All right, so over in downloads, you'll see BIOS, and F21 is the best one. So I always like to read the descriptions of these, make sure for whatever reason that we don't have to update an earlier BIOS, and that everything we need. Couple reasons. One, if you've already got like F20, make sure there's nothing that you really need in F21, right? If you're down at F7 and you're looking, well, maybe I want to buy this i9-12900KS. I needed to update to F8A. If I'm doing 13th gen, you see F20 hit that point, and then not much really added for F21. So we're going to download this file, and using Chrome, it shows up down here, okay? So if it was Edge, it'd be the upper right corner. So I'm going to click on show in folder. Now, if you can't find this, for whatever reason, downloads, it should be right there, okay, like it is. And we are going to extract all. Click on extract. And then right there is our actual BIOS file, okay? Now, folks, we have more work to do. We need to rename this file. And how do I know that? Well, if we come back here, we click on manual, and then I'm looking over to the right here for unique features and the one that's in English. So that is right there. I want to open that file up and then go to using QFlash Plus. And so this is basically the instructions, okay? And this is what we want to rename it to. So I'm going to make my life easier, copy and paste that. Hopefully I didn't get the period at the end. And then we're going to go back over to here. And I'm going to right click, rename, change that name, and then delete what's on the end of it, okay? Am I sure that I want to do that? Actually, you know what? You guys didn't even get to see that. Right click, rename, paste, delete, hit enter. Then we see this message, yes. Now I'm going to right click, copy, right click, paste, or a Control V, right? Control C, Control V. So now our file's in here, okay? So now we are good to go. Now, in case you don't want to listen to me, folks, the instructions are right here for what you're going to do. Now, important fact, the USB, let's go back to it. This thing, if you right click and click properties, you'll see FAT32 right here, okay? That is one of the most important things here to doing this. Make sure your USB is formatted FAT32. I'm using a USB 2.0, 128 gig. It's not partitioned. Honestly, it's best not to have any additional files on there and all that good stuff. And the other aspect was that file. Sorry to keep going back. It's on the root directory, okay? So if I'm clicking around over here on C drive and I'm in here, this is not the root directory, okay? This would be the root directory. Same thing over here. That's where I want the file at the root directory. So let's go ahead and get this thing going. All right, folks, so to do this, we need our motherboard. We're gonna need our thumb drive, and we need a power supply. So as demonstrated in one of my other videos, this technique will actually work with the CPU and a graphics card and RAM installed. But if you are buying this for whatever reason and jumping to 13th gen without having put a 12th gen CPU in here and updated the BIOS, you're going to have to do this process. So 24 pin connector here, okay? This powers up the motherboard. And some of the video or some of the motherboards say to hook up the CPU power connector, but from what I have done with these, we don't need that. Now, the reason I had the I/O shield out there is on here, folks, it tells you which USB is for the BIOS, okay? So just so you can see it, it's the top one. I'm going to pitch that to the side. Now, plug in your power supply. And hopefully no issues with actual power. Click this on. So that is on, okay? The line clicked in. Now, as we noted on our I/O shield, and if you're doing a similar Gigabyte, it should tell you where the USB is. We're going to insert this into the spot. Now, basically our power supply is energized. We want to come over here, click on our BIOS update button. And I'm going to turn off some of the light because it should start flashing. I'm going to back up a little bit. And now we're going to depress it. So this is going to blink for 6 to 8 minutes. All right. That light will stay on. Power supply is on. Sometimes the power supply shuts off. But what you want to concentrate on is that light blinking, all right? I've done about 10 of these Gigabyte BIOS updates, this method. We've done a bunch of MSI and ASRock as well for the channel. Very similar techniques. So I'm going to pause this, folks, and we'll come back in 6 to 8 minutes. All right, so not quite at the 6 to 8 minute mark, but still flashing away. And, you know, it doesn't look so great on the video, but you always want to have the CPU covered, just in case you're out there thinking, oh, it doesn't have a CPU covered. There's actually tape over this. I bought this pulled from a new computer, and they didn't put a cover on it. It just has tape on it, but that's why that looks like it does. All right, folks, so it has stopped blinking. See, the power is still on the motherboard. Power supply is still going. Any moment it should shut off, and that light's off, and now the power supply's off. So we're good to go for 13th gen. Hey, thanks for checking out the video, folks. If you got something out of this and helped, please like. Remember, FAT32 on your thumb drive. I'm using a USB 2.0 Gigastone 128 gig in case you decide you want to follow exactly along this. With the power supply, only that was connected, and we had, of course, the power switch on, right? So, pretty simple. Thanks for checking out the video.